All right, so today's date is 4/22/21, and we're going to learn about supplementary angles. Supplementary angles, okay? Yesterday we learned about complementary, starts with the C. This one, supplementary, starts with an S, and they are different, okay? So supplementary angles are two or more angles that add up to 180 degrees. So they add up to what looks like a straight line. Okay. Yesterday they added up to what looks like a corner. Today they add up to a straight line. What looks like a straight line. Okay. So supplementary angles, they look like they add up to 180 degrees. Okay, because this right here, a straight line equals 180. But here I have two angles. So I have angle A and angle B. So today, angle A plus angle B equals 180 degrees. So when it looks like a straight line, it equals 180 degrees. Yesterday, I'll flip it back, it looked like the corner of your paper, right? So if it looks like the corner of your paper, it equals 90 degrees. When it looks like a straight line, it equals 180 degrees. Okay? So, I mean, it's students, the number one mistake kids do is they'll set it up equal to the wrong number. They'll be like, oh, it set it equal to 90. It's like, does this look like the corner of your paper? No, it looks like a straight line. Cool. If it looks like a straight line, set it equal to 180 degrees. Okay? And to solve this, we're going to basically kind of do what we did yesterday. So we're going to do some examples. The first part is super easy. Okay. Every single person in this class can do this like first set of problems, like, the level 1. It's super easy. Okay. So let's say I have this angle that measures 123 degrees, and this angle is a mysterious X that I don't know. So I'm going to set up my equation. I have X plus 123 is equal to 180 degrees, right? Because this looks like this looks like the straight line. So we know that straight lines always equal to 180. It's a straight angle. So I know if I add these two numbers, it equals 180. So now I'm going to draw my bars. And it says here plus 123. So I'm going to subtract 123, subtract 123. All right. Now, again, number one thing is that you have to make sure you borrow correctly. Some of you, yesterday, the work that you turned in, if you turned it in before 5 o'clock yesterday, I graded it. I started grading, I think, at like 5:30. And I graded for accuracy. So if you made a mistake, I did take off a point. I told you what the mistake was. So make sure that if you did not get a 10 yesterday, go back, check the comments. Some of you just didn't borrow correctly. And that's like, oh, you're so close. But you didn't borrow correctly. So this becomes a 10, this becomes a 7, right? So 10 minus 3 is 7, 7 minus 2 is 5, and then 1 minus 1 is 0. So we're left with 57. So X is equal to 57. All we did was we basically took this number and we subtracted it from 180, and we got 57. So all we're doing is just basically doing some subtraction. Level 1 is basic subtraction. Yes, you're gonna have to borrow, but should be okay. All right, let's do another super basic one. So we have X and we have 82 degrees. All right, so here's an X and 82 degrees. So we're going to set up our equation. x plus 82 equals. Now this is where kids mess up. Is it equal to 90 or is it equal to 180? Well, you just have to look at it. Hopefully you look at it and you realize, oh, look, here's a straight line. Both of these together make a straight line. And I can look back at my notes and realize, like, when it's a straight line, it equals 180 degrees. Okay? Not 90. 90 was yesterday. Today it's 180. We're going to draw our bars. We're going to subtract 82, subtract 82. Again, be very careful when you borrow. Very, very careful. So, and then this is a degree sign. So some of us don't write that. So 10, this becomes a 7, right? 10 minus 2 is 8. And then I have 7 minus 8. Uh-oh, I can't do 7 minus 8. So the 1 becomes a 0, and this becomes a 17. 17 minus 8, now we have a 9. So x equals 98. If you're like, I'm not sure if I got that one right, well, you can always go and go, okay, 98 plus 82, that gives me 10, carry the 1. 10 plus 8 is 18. Oh, 180. Exactly what I was supposed to get, 180. So if you're like, did I subtract correctly? Did I borrow correctly? Well, you can always go back and add. We tend not to make many mistakes on adding, so you can just double check. It has to equal 180 degrees. Are we okay? Level 1, we're all right? Hopefully, maybe. Sure, Miss O'Malley? Okay, that's cool. All right, let's try one that's level 2. Level 2. Give myself more room. All right, so this is level 2 because we don't just have x, we have 5x, right? So we're going to set up our equations. This is why it's so important for you guys to practice writing equations. Even though it's a simple math problem, you're still going to need to rely on your equations. So when they become harder like this one, you're like, oh, I got this. All right, so our equation is 5x plus 85 is equal to 180. So here's my x, right? Your goal is to get x by itself. But before we get, well, we need to get x by itself. So you have the 5 and you have the 85, right? 5 times x plus 85. You want to move the number that's furthest away from your x. 5 is next to it. You don't move that one first. Move it last. 85 is kind of away from it. There's an addition sign in the middle of it. So this is the one I'm going to move first. It says addition, so you're going to do the opposite, which is subtraction. So you're going to subtract on both sides. Again, you're going to be careful when you borrow. 10 minus 5 is 5. 7 minus 8, I can't do it. So that becomes 0. Sometimes students will forget to cross that out and make it a 0, and then they'll bring down the 1, and then that's a mistake right there. So just be very careful. Take your time with subtraction. Take your time with borrowing. Oh, we get 95 equals 5x though. We're not done. We have a 5x. In the level 1, we would be done by now, but this is level 2. So we got one more simple step. How do I break this up? Well, it's 5 times x. So the opposite of 5 times x would be to divide by 5, divide by 5. We're left with here just x, which is our goal. Our original goal was to get x by itself. We've done that now. Gosh, I don't know what 95 divided by 5 is, so I'm going to go on the side over here and divide it old school. All right, 95 divided by 5 is 19. So we solved for x equals 19. So in these type of problems, we are asked to do a 2-step equation because it says 5x, right? Okay, let's do one more, this, and then we'll do the ones that gave you trouble yesterday. Let's say this is 2x and this is 150. So we're going to write down our equation as 2x plus 150 is equal to what? What is this angle equal to when it's a straight line? It equals 180 degrees, right? Straight lines are 180. So we have our problem right here. 2x plus 150 equals 180. We're going to draw our bars. You want x by itself. So you ask yourself, do I move the 2 or do I move the 150? In this case, we're going to move the 150 first. I'm going to subtract 150, subtract 150. So 180 minus 150 is 30, right? Is equal to 2x. So your last step is to then divide by 2, divide by 2. X by itself, you have x by itself. Then you finish it out. What's 30 divided by 2? 30 divided by 2 is 15. So x is equal to 15. Again, this is what I taught. This part I taught you back in like November, October-ish. So this is something that you should know how to do. The only thing the new part of today is like, well, it's coming from an angle, right? And you know that this angle is 180, so that's equal to 180. How do we show this work? That you should have learned back in October, November. And you're going to be using this in geometry. You're going to be using this next year in algebra. So all of this, you're still going to be using even when you're in high school and college and so on. All right, now let's look at a problem that gave some of you a headache yesterday. What if I have x minus 1 and this one's 121? The number one mistake I saw kids do was they didn't know what to do with that minus. And a lot of you got a lot of questions wrong because I think it was like a minus 20 yesterday on the classwork, and you guys were adding, like it was like, oh my goodness, no, don't do that type of situation. So let's talk about it now. Now, a lot of you yesterday, for example, if it was a problem like this, you would take 121 and you would add it and you would get 122. That's a mistake. Okay, that is a mistake. So I'm going to do this mistake on my post-it. A lot of you wrote like, oh, it's x plus 122. And I'm like, how did you get 122? Oh, well, Miss O'Malley, I just put these two numbers together because 1 and 121, that gives you 121, 122. And I'm like, no, it does not. Why? Hold on, let me answer this chat. This is actually, because it's a minus 1 right there, you know, pay attention right there. It's a minus 1. So we would minus 1 from this one. So it would be 120 plus x because this is a minus 1. And a lot of you yesterday, you would be adding all those numbers. And it's like, no, wait. No. If it's a minus 1, you're not going to add it together with this number. You're technically going to subtract it. And that gives you 180. So we're going to do the opposite now. We do the opposite when we're moving it to the other side. If it's on the same side, you're going to follow what it says. It's a minus 1, so subtract it. But when we move it across, we do the opposite. So here would be x is equal to 60. Okay? So that was like one of the major mistakes I saw yesterday with your classwork, if you turned it in before 5 o'clock, is that you were putting like these two numbers, even though it's a subtraction sign, you were adding them. And it's like, no, don't do that. Okay, let's do another one like this because, again, I saw it a lot. And I was kind of like, yikes. X minus 8 and 33 degrees. X minus 8. Okay. All right, so X minus 8 plus 33 is equal to 180 degrees, right? So if it had a plus sign right there, yeah, totally add them together. Yeah, that's awesome. But because it has a minus, you can't just add these two numbers together. Now, if you're having a hard time understanding this, you're just like, wait, what? How? Then take one number at a time and move it. So you know what? I'm just not going to do this part. I'm just going to go minus 33, minus 33. So this is a different way of doing it. If you're not comfortable combining them, then take each number at a time and do the math. So this would be 10, 7. So this would be 147 is equal to X minus 8, because it's a minus. So then here I would plus 8, and I would get X is equal to, what's 147 plus 8? 147 plus 8 is 155. So if you're not comfortable with putting these two numbers together, you're just like, I don't get it. I mean, I don't understand why it's a minus and why it's an add. Well, then just move each number one at a time. If you feel comfortable putting these two together and getting like 25, was it 25? 25. That's cool. Do it that way. But if you're just like, I don't know, move one number at a time and you'll be fine. Okay. I think these are the hardest problems you'll get. One more problem, and I'm done. And one more, and I'm done. One more, and we're done. 57 and X plus 23. If it's 57 plus X plus 23, all equals 180, right? If it's 180 because it's straight line. Now, do you see how it's plus 23 and there's nothing in front of the 57, right? There's no minus there. So when it's all like there's no subtraction signs in your original problem, then you can just add them, right? There's no subtraction sign, so we can add them with no problem, right? We can just go 57 plus 23 gives you 80, so that's what I got right there, right? So if there's no subtraction sign, then it's just simple, just add them. What you guys were doing yesterday was you were adding them no matter what. Like you ignore that subtraction sign, like if it didn't even exist. So be careful. So here, because there's no subtraction, awesome. We're going to subtract 80. So X is equal to 100, right? So if there's no subtraction sign, it should be an easy problem to solve. I'm thinking most of the problems on today's assignment are pretty straightforward. All right. Wow. Those are a lot of notes, and I think I went kind of slower today. All right, you're gonna have 9 problems to do for classwork, and then I'm gonna bring you guys back, and the last 10 minutes we're gonna do an exit ticket, like the last 10 minutes. So we're gonna break it out. We're gonna check. If you have any questions, ask us. We're gonna check your answers, and then we'll come back for the last 10 minutes to do our exit ticket. Okay? If you have questions, if you don't understand, or if you don't understand something from yesterday, ask us for help. Ms. Valencia and I will be going into the breakout rooms, and if you still don't understand something, it's perfect time to send us a message in the chat or speak out loud. All right.